Next up, do you have a social media strategy for capturing the attention of your desired audience? Here to give you an edge over your competitors by leveraging Facebook and Instagram to attract leads, please welcome Bobbi Baehne.
Is this thing on? So last weekend, this is going to date me a little bit, my oldest daughter had her 10-year class reunion, which made my 30 years seem like nothing, because my daughter's 10-year, that was crazy. But it made me think about what was happening in our lives 10 years ago. So 10 years ago, I drove my oldest daughter to college. And I was a single mom. She was my best friend. She was helping me keep the household running. We were sharing things every day. And taking her away to college was losing a really big piece of what I thought was my identity and actually a friendship that had developed. And so we drop her off at college and I go home and I'm really missing sharing our day-to-day activities and sharing stories and pictures and things that had happened throughout the day. And she starts to tell me about this new thing that had just launched called Facebook. Now, I'd seen it on the news, but I couldn't get in because I didn't have an EDU address. She was in because she was in college. Well, a couple months down the road, Zuckerberg decided that parents should get in too. And they opened the platform so that anybody could create a profile. And I quickly did, because this became a way that we could start engaging again on a daily basis, heck, on a minutely basis, and start to share those stories and those pictures and videos and things that were happening throughout our day. I wasn't missing her quite so much, but did I mention it was college? And there are a lot of things there I didn't necessarily need to see, but I did, and that's okay. But then my family got on. Now her aunts and uncles are on, and they're seeing all this college rhetoric and fun she's having. And then her little sister and little brother got on. We had to quickly make sure that they couldn't see what she was doing away at college. And then Grandma got on. And that changed everything. And at that time, it really made me realize that we were going through a fundamental shift in the way we were going to communicate from there on out. Whether you love Facebook or you don't love Facebook, and whether you're on it all day long or you're not, it has changed the places that we visit. It has changed our lives. It's changed our relationships. And there's no going back. Life is definitely different since social media has become a part of our world. And so a couple years down the road, Facebook started to expand a little bit more. And they started offering cause pages and community pages and then business pages. And at this point in the game, I was an executive marketing director at a nonprofit organization where our mission was to provide emergency housing and foster care for abused and neglected children and adolescents. And I went to my executive director and said, this is it. We have to get in now. We've got to go all in because our audience is there. These kids are on Facebook all day, and how else do we let them know that we're here for them? Well, the executive director was approaching retirement age, so was just about everybody else in the agency, and it was a fad. Nobody's really there because they weren't there, so they didn't think anyone else was spending their time there. I can't tell you how many times I have clients say to me, well, I'm never on Facebook, so yeah, I don't want to market there. Who gives a crap if you're on there or not? Your audience is on there. But I really couldn't make much of the case. We set up a page, but we really never went all in to really make sure that we were expanding our reach as much as possible. Which kind of made my term there a little bit shorter because I was seeing as new platforms came on that I really was passionate about this new way to communicate. And I started taking on little side jobs and passion projects that were in social media. And those things started to grow even more, and eventually I left that company for one that wanted to allow me to do a little bit more in social media. And those side jobs and little side projects kept building up, so I finally just left and launched Think Big Go Local, which is our digital marketing agency. And what I want to do today is to help you, whether you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, or a speaker, to kind of, first of all, we're going to go back to some basics in social media. Then we're going to talk a little bit about what's hot, what's not in 2016. Because like I mentioned earlier, I don't know how small business owners do what they love and manage to market themselves effectively. It's really tough. You really have to spend a lot of time in those platforms. So we're going to try to break that down a little bit. And then right now in the current market, in the current social media space, I am so impressed by what LinkedIn and Facebook are offering right now to small businesses. And I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the newer things that maybe you haven't experimented with just yet, to give you some tips about how you can utilize those new features to grow your speaking business, generate new leads, or grow your business. So, that said, and this is all working, why social media? So let's just talk about a few reasons, and because I hear this from people a lot too. I know I need to be there. Everybody tells me I need to be in social media, but where do I start? What platforms should I be on? And so we're going to talk a little bit about how that all plays out. So first of all, why social media? Has anybody picked up a newspaper recently? Not many people, that's right, because you don't need to, do you? Because it's all getting fed to you. And even if you did pick it up, it's about this big now. Remember when they used to be like this on Sunday? Traditional methods don't work anymore, especially in advertising. If you put an ad in a local newspaper, all you really know is that the people reading it live within a certain area. In Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, you can target a market that meets so specifically the needs or the avatar you've created for your client. So that is one reason why you need social media. They've got great data out there. The next thing is spending time where the action is. So why would you want to spend your time marketing somewhere where you don't have the largest potential audience? 75% of adults are using Facebook on a regular basis. I don't care what kind of business you're in, your clients are most likely spending some time there. Online networking and relationship building. How many hands can you shake in a day? Not that many, right? Like today, maybe we've got 50 people in here, and if we do a really good job networking, we might leave with 49 new business cards to contact. But if you get on social media and you do a good job with your hashtag strategy and your keywords, you have the potential to reach hundreds, if not thousands of people with your message in a day. You also have the opportunity to create conversation. It's not just about the content that you post, but it's a lot about the engagement that goes back and forth, the conversation. Please don't ever forget that it's called social media for a reason. You have to go back and be social. It increases your visibility and your brand recognition. There are so many opportunities to get creative with your brand, and by brand, I don't mean your logo. I mean your set of core values, who you are, what you believe in, what you look like, what you do. Social media gives you so many opportunities to tell that story to the world, if they're paying attention. And then increase your client and prospective client engagement. So again, a question I hear a lot is, if I spend money having you manage my social media, what's my ROI going to be? A typical answer is, what's the ROI of your mother? Because there isn't one. And so you can't put a price on that, right? And social media is very much like that. Don't ever go into it expecting an actual, don't go in there counting numbers. Don't count likes. Don't count the number of people that have come from there. Count the relationships you've built and the connections that you've made and the people that you now know that you've brought into your circle because you had the opportunity to connect with them in LinkedIn or to follow them and consume their content in Facebook or Instagram. So these platforms give us the opportunity to do that. And then finally, one little piece that I don't think everybody's aware of or doesn't think of so often is that social media does another thing for us. And we kind of talked about this a little bit with LinkedIn. It provides very vital social signals, which means the content you put out there and the platforms that you set up that link back to your website and the engagement that you receive online, all of these things are factors in helping your website to rank higher in the search results in Google. And I don't care who you know, we all need to be found in Google search. And the reason for that is if you already know somebody there, you already have the ability to connect with them. We still need to connect with the people that we don't know yet. And so social signals allow our website to get a little more visibility as well. So those are some of the reasons that we need to be involved in social media. So then the question becomes, where do I need to be? Where do I go? Because there's only a few places that you could go, and this is really just the big ones. There are so many platforms. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+. Nobody uses Google+, I'm just going to say that, but it's there. Google My Business is a critical part of your social media strategy, however. Pinterest, Instagram, the list goes on and on. So the answer to this question, which I get asked frequently, where do I start? The answer is really, really simple. Wherever the hell your audience is at. If you are a commercial lender and you're seeking 45 to 60-year-old business owners who are going to utilize you for their next capital campaign or something of the sort, Instagram's probably not going to close that deal for you, but LinkedIn will, and you need to be there. If you just launched a trendy jewelry business and you want to target 13-year-old girls up to maybe 28-year-old young ladies, I wouldn't spend a whole lot of time on LinkedIn. Hit them up on Pinterest and Instagram and you're going to get better results. So the answer to where do I spend my time is, first of all, take the time to find out, well, first you should know who your audience is, but where do they spend their time? And that's where I would advise you to spend yours. It's pretty simple. So now I want to talk about this little segment that I'm going to call What's Hot in 2016. Eric and I had a little fun with this on his podcast, and I want to thank him for a moment for letting Gail and I promote engaging speakers on there all week. We really appreciate it, Eric. So what sorts of things are hot in 2016 in the social media world? We have identified at Think Big, Go Local 6 things that we think are critical to your marketing strategy this year. The first one, where did Lauren go? I was going to give him all sorts of kudos for handling this one for me, is authenticity. Nobody wants to have that highly produced version of yourself anymore. We truly are getting accustomed to videos that are shot just like this. Right in their face, 3 feet from you, you screw up, you stumble over your words, it's all okay because it's authentic. Lauren had made such a great point about just kind of owning up to everything that you are. Whatever it is that you've done. In his example, maybe a cloudy past that he's taken ownership of and says it's part of who I am. If you want to be a loony and get purple hair, you know what? It's who you are. Go ahead and own that and be authentic. Thank you. Tawana's another great example. You want to get in front of a room of people in chucks and a pair of jeans? If that's who you are, go do it. Be authentic because it's all that's believable anymore. And you know what? It is so easy for all of us to find out who's not authentic by doing just the tiniest bit of research. So own up to it because that is what I think is one of the hottest trends this year. Storytelling, which I'm going to rename to stories. I think storytelling's always been a critical component of marketing. The images that we put out, it all tells a story about our brand and who we are. But platforms like Snapchat and Instagram are taking that to a whole nother level. We can now take our audience along with us all darn day long and let them know what we do on a day-to-day basis. Or maybe today, I've been doing this since I got up before the sun rose this morning. That doesn't happen in my world. So I had to put it on Instagram stories because it doesn't happen. And so I was taking my audience with me as I got up, got ready, said goodbye to the dogs, got here. And so my audience is seeing the story of what has gone on in my day at the Engaging Speakers Bootcamp. And you can do the same thing on platforms like Snapchat. And this is a great opportunity to get really intimate with your audience and to really build your brand and be authentic. So storytelling and utilizing these stories features are a really great way to leverage some more of your online marketing. Influencer marketing. And I love this one because I've had some awesome influencer experiences this year. Does everybody in the room know Gary Vaynerchuk? You have to know Gary. If you don't, look him up and watch him. He is amazing. Probably one of the hottest things happening in the social media world. And this year, I actually had the chance to sit down and talk with him for a while. And you know, the thing is, when I watch him from afar, it's like these people are unreachable. You can't connect with them. They're gods up on a pedestal that you just aspire to be. But the reality is, I can't tell you how many times Gary and I have tweeted back and forth, that I've commented on his Facebook things and he's commented back. Even when I met him, he's like, we know each other, don't we? Well, yeah, no, not really, but yeah, kind of, and I know you. And so influencer marketing is a phenomenal way, and it kind of piggybacks on what Mark was talking about getting noticed and getting to that next level of where your content can be delivered, is find out who the influencers are in your arena, and then be diligent about reaching out to them. Follow all their platforms, engage with them routinely, tag them in posts that you put out. If you are relentless and you are out there hustling at this each and every day, trust me, they're paying attention, because they're nothing without people like us making them the influencer that they are. And when you can build that relationship and capture their attention, you have now the opportunity to start collaborating. I don't know if anyone in the room knows who Subi Zimmerman is, but she is the world's leading Instagram expert. And I was watching a Periscope of hers not too long ago, and shot a little note and said, hey, Sue. And Sue sent me back a note and said, hey, here's my cell phone number. I'm going to be in Chicago next week. You need to call me. And I was like, is she crazy? Like, what just happened? And I called her. And I was going to pay a ridiculous amount of money for an hour of her time to talk about my Instagram profile. And that morning, Sue called me and said, hey, you know what? I was thinking, I'm going into O'Hare. You got to drive right by there to get into the city. Why don't you pick me up at the airport? Cool. Yeah, okay. Now, because I'm thinking, I had her ass in my car for an hour. This is going to work out really well for me. So we get it, before we even get in the car, and if you've seen anything Sue does, we can't get in the car. We got the police telling us to leave, and she's like, oh, hell no, we're Snapchatting this before we go. And we are on Instagram, we're on Snapchat, but Sue has a massive following. And she's giving everybody all of my profile links to follow. By the end of that day, I had increased my following tremendously in Instagram and in Snapchat and on Twitter, because I spent the rest of the day hanging out with Eric and some other phenomenal influencers. And it was just incredibly powerful. But the reason what I really want you guys to get out of this is they're not that distant from you. You just have to work hard, and the visibility they can give you, the connections they can help you with are amazing. Live streaming video. How's that going for you today, Barry? Was it awesome? Live streaming video, things like Periscope and Snapchat. Even some of these stories are kind of live video, and there's all kinds of them that are coming onto the market. I don't think it's there yet, but YouTube is coming out with a live streaming video as well. This is another amazing opportunity to get really intimate with your audience, to be able to take the time, maybe not have to write, but to give them some little bit of micro content on a very regular basis that they can consume, that keeps them coming back to you, that's constantly building authority, so that you're building up a loyal following, and so that people can refer people to watch you in these live streaming videos that you are producing, because they know you've got value for them. If you aren't doing live streaming video, we're going to talk about Facebook Live in a minute, you've got to implement that this year into your marketing strategy, because one thing I've learned over the years is that if you don't do it right now while it's hot, and you decide in about 4 months from now that you want to check it out, it's probably not hot anymore. You probably missed the boat. If you're a new business trying to set up a Facebook page right now and really get any attention, you're struggling. You're really struggling, because it's so noisy and so congested there already. Live streaming video is definitely hot. Creativity. Talked about all that noise, all that competition you have in these platforms. How do you stand out? And for everybody, that's going to be different. Whether it's a look that you've acquired, whether it's maybe the way you talk, it's going to be very based on a certain level of talent. There's obviously people with more talent in front of a camera or with the microphone might do a little bit better in some of these platforms. But even if you can create phenomenal visuals, photography, graphics, you can stand out from your competition and get a bigger percentage of that audience attention by really thinking about creativity first. And then finally, mobile. Not a very exciting word, but how many of you checked your email today on your smartphones? Your Facebook page or some sort of social media? Yeah, probably sent a text message or two to somebody already today. How many of you have got it on your laptops today already? Just glam over here now. So some people, the reality is we are doing more and more every day with our smartphones. I know very influential business people that don't bring anything with them on business trips but a cell phone anymore because they can do everything from that device. So why that's so important to us as marketers, whether we're marketing our business or trying to build up our attention for our speaking business, is that everything we create has to be easily consumable in a mobile format. Your images need to be easily viewed on mobile, which means if you're creating images in some type of graphic design program and you're putting tiny little text in it that you can't read on a phone, you're creating a bad user experience and you're not going to get the visibility that you're looking for. So make sure in all your marketing that you are thinking mobile first, because that's what we're using more than anything else right now. So that's what's hot. Let's talk a little bit about what's not, because strategy changes all the time in social media, and so things that used to work don't work anymore, and I want to make sure you don't make these mistakes, so I want to bring your attention to those. So what's not? Quantity over quality. Do you remember when you used to really care about how many Facebook likes you had on your Facebook page? Like when you hit 1,000, you know, everybody write, there'd be a big banner, I got 1,000 followers, thank you. Well, you know what, that's great. However, I would rather have 100 loyal followers that want to spend their money with me, that want to share my content, than have 5,000 that don't give a crap, right? Absolutely. Thanks, Donna. So don't be looking at the numbers anymore. Look at the type of people that you're pulling into your circle, because that's far more important. Oh, like and share, I have to mention this. Do you remember when every post a business put on Facebook said, like and share? If you do this, like and share. If you want this, share this. Well, Facebook is actually considering that spam, and if you were to follow this practice routinely, you're actually going to get overall far less visibility than the terrible visibility we already get on Facebook. So don't use those terms. That is definitely a trend of the past, and let me tell you something. If I love your content, and I'm inspired by it, and I find value in it, you don't have to ask me to share it. I'm going to willingly do that. But when you ask, don't tell me what to do. Just don't tell me what to do. If it's good enough, it's going to be spread around. So keep that in mind. Autoresponders. Now, let me differentiate what I mean by this, because there's some phenomenal uses for autoresponders and automation in our marketing. But anytime you're trying to make somebody believe that you're actually reaching out to them with a message that's actually an autoresponder, you're screwing up. When I get someone that follows me on Twitter, or I follow someone on Twitter, and within a millisecond, I have a note in my box that says, hey, think big, go local, which isn't even my name, I didn't read anything. Thanks for following. You can catch my ebook at this and that, and I can do this for you, and I can do that for you, and then it's like signed ClickBank or something like that. And you know, and I really want to connect with you on Facebook, and let's do this and let's do that. I just met you, dude. Jeez, let me take a breath. I wanted to kind of see what you were all about. That's why I'm following you. Don't ever make people feel like, don't ever send something that's really not authentic. If it's not a message, you're not actually on Twitter sending that message, thanking them for connecting with you, don't do it. I think this kind of goes to what we were talking about with not personalizing LinkedIn messages. On my birthday, I got 10 million happy birthdays that were they were meaningless. Like, I just went right on through them. But then the person who would even add Bobbi to that little sentence, you're like, yes, awesome, I've got a great follower, what a great guy. And I'm shooting them a message, thank you, that made me feel so good. And now we're being social. We're actually building a relationship. So autoresponders, for that sense, bad news. Excessive self-promotion. Do I have to explain this? None of us want to be sold in social media, right? None of us. Get people to want to engage with you because of the value you offer. Give them other things that are tips or tricks or beautiful images or whatever it is that stimulates your audience. Don't self-promote all the time, because you know what happens? People quit paying attention. They may even unfollow you. But if you put out great content and you're offering value, and then you have that ask, you can do that because you have followers that are paying attention to you. But if you do it too often, you lose their attention. And then free advertising. When we set up our first Facebook business page, it kind of felt like free advertising. We could get this message out to all these people. Facebook wasn't throttling us back so much. it really felt good. Like, wow, this is so cool. This is all free. All it's taking is my time. Well, then Facebook went public, and now they're in the business of making money, and there's no longer that opportunity, especially in that platform, to really get free advertising. If you want that message to really be spread to your ideal potential customers, you're going to have to pay. And you know what? I'm going to tell you, figure it out, fit it into your budget, and do it, because if you don't, you're never going to get the reach that you're looking for. But more importantly, Facebook and Instagram advertising specifically is so amazingly accurate. They have so much data. They know everything you do. Everything. They know what you just bought on Amazon. They know what you just looked at when you were testing out cars, whatever, or checking out websites. They have so much data on people that when you want to find somebody that just drove a new Land Rover because you were selling something that they're going to love, you can get that information, specifically target them, spend $50 and having massive impact. So free advertising's gone, but the paid advertising is actually well worth your investment. So we've got to break through all the noise, because I don't know about you guys, but it really even feels like this to me sometimes. And you've got to do that by being unique and figuring out which profiles you fit in. So I have a whole 8 minutes left. I want to jump real quick into a couple of new things that have been launched fairly recently in Facebook and Instagram that as a business owner, entrepreneur, or speaker, you need to know about. So let me just tell you a little bit about Facebook and some of the things that you need to make sure that you're doing to optimize your Facebook profile. One, make sure you set up your call to action button. It's kind of a no-brainer. Most people have done it by now, but make sure you give people that opportunity to hit one button in Facebook and either call you or go to your website. And one other little tip that I think everybody really needs to do is to write in your calendar, whatever time it is. Maybe it's the 1st of the month, maybe it's the 15th, but do an audit on your social media platforms on a routine basis. And here's why. Maybe today, if someone wants to reach out to me, I want that call to action button to be my phone number so they can call me. But maybe next month, I'm going to have a phenomenal blog post out there that's got some little freebie in it that's going to generate some revenue for me or something along those lines. And so maybe next month, I really want that shifted so people go to my website and see that instead. So there are then going to be opportunities for you to see maybe what's been added into these profiles. They add features all the time that we don't necessarily know about unless you go in there and look. So do an audit and make sure you're setting up those call to action buttons. If you haven't verified your Facebook page, does anyone in here verified their Facebook pages already? A little check mark next to your business? Dee's going, I don't know, Bobbi, did I? Verify your Facebook page. And so a verified business is simply, if you were looking through, you'd see the business with a little check mark next to their name. And that means that Facebook has verified that they are a legitimate business with the actual location and phone number that they say that they are. It doesn't do tremendous, not like overnight wonders, but Facebook does give more credibility to verified businesses by giving them a little bit more visibility in the newsfeed. So that's one of the things you definitely want to do. It's really easy. If you're on your business Facebook page, you go to the settings tab. The third option down is verify your business. You give them your phone number. Sometimes they ask for some documentation, and within the week you will have a verified Facebook page. Apps and tabs. This is another no-brainer that a lot of people don't think about. So Facebook has made some changes in the way that your business page displays, but you still have tabs that run right underneath your cover image and then down the left-hand side of your page. And those are things like the number of likes you have, your reviews, events, photos, videos. Put some real thought into which one of those do you want to display at the top or closest to your About section underneath your cover image. As an example, we have a training facility in our office and we teach classes throughout the month. And so we create events, which I'm going to talk about in a second as well, for each one of those training, and that is a revenue generator for my business. So guess what? I want people to pay attention to that events tab far more than I care that they look at how many people like my page. You can drag and drop all of those different things to make sure that your audience is seeing the things that you want them to see first. So that's a real simple way to shift those things around to make sure that you are listing them in the order that you want people to view them. Event marketing is another really important piece of your Facebook advertising. And the reason for this is Facebook's made some changes into their event platform where they now allow you to tag your events with some keywords. What this does is this is actually one of the only places within Facebook that you can get attention to your content without paying for it by having it put in front of people that don't follow you and don't know you yet. So as an example, if I'm putting on a wine walk in my community and I create an event and I tag it wine walk and wine and drunks on the street, whatever this may be, I'm going to now, Facebook now knows what this event is about. They know the geographical area we're located in, and they can now look at other individuals that have Facebook profiles that have attended similar events or liked other event pages, and they will actually take my event and put it in their newsfeed because Facebook needs to remain relevant to their users. And by giving them what they enjoy and what they already know they like, they are becoming more relevant. People are less likely to jump off of Facebook. So create events. Every time you do a public speaking presentation, you should create an event for it. As a matter of fact, you could create an event for Engaging Speakers Bootcamp on your own page if you wanted to, but every time you do that, you are actually encouraging Facebook to put that content in front of other people. And then finally, Messenger. Facebook Messenger's been around forever, but they've done some really interesting changes to Messenger. First of all, it has a standalone app now, just like text messaging. But the reason I bring it up is because what I have found in our business is that people are using Facebook Messenger as a customer service line to connect with businesses. They legitimately think you sit on the other side of that Facebook page 24/7 waiting for them to ask you a question. They truly do. And so you need to go into that platform. They have some automated responses. They don't pretend you're actually talking to them. They actually say, we're away from our desk right now. Hi Dee, we're away from our desk right now because we're working with clients, but we always get back to everybody within 3 hours, so be patient and we will get back to you ASAP. Set an expectation for them and use that Messenger platform as a customer service center, especially if you deal with younger adults. I sit on a board at the local college, and we sent out an email to, I think it was like 12 scholarship recipients. None of them responded. We shot the same message through Facebook Messenger, 100% got back to us by that day. So Messenger. And then Facebook Live. This is a live video streaming, and I'm running short on time, so I just want to tell you really quickly why it's so important. When you go live on Facebook, Facebook loves this new feature. They put you right up at the top of the newsfeed. It also allows your audience to subscribe to your Facebook Live content, and then every time you go live, they get a notification. While you're live, you're going to get more visibility on that video than you're probably going to get on any post you put out there. It's very, very powerful, and Facebook likes it a lot right now, so utilize that feature. Do a daily show, do a weekly show. Figure out a strategy, but utilize Facebook Live while it's popular, because pretty soon it'll get replaced with something else. I really don't have time to go through all this, but I want to really quickly highlight a couple of things. If you did not know, Instagram has changed their platform to now allow for business pages. You can come to my booth later and I will show you how to do that, but if you've been utilizing Instagram, and they used to be all set up the same, a profile was a profile, whether you were an individual or a business, they've now switched them to a business page where you have full analytics. You can advertise just right from the app on your phone. You get a button where anyone who comes across your profile can hit one button to call you, email you, text you. It's really powerful, so you want to make sure you make that change. I have seconds left. And I want to make sure that you know too, if you have any questions about how to use stories in Instagram, I am happy to share that with you as well. And so I just want to wrap it up and thank you all so much for the opportunity to kind of bring you up to speed on a little bit of the things that are new. Like I said, I will be at the booth across in the sponsors thing later if you have any questions or need me to show you anything. We do have a training center, and I've got information at our booth where if you are looking for more information, where we train small business owners, speakers, and entrepreneurs how to manage these social media accounts most effectively so you can go do what you're passionate about. So thank you so much for your time today. I hope everyone's having a wonderful afternoon.